In this video, I'm going to be ranking every single flower in Minecraft from best in S tier and worst in D tier. And let's start it off with the poppy. I feel like the poppy is the most distinct flower in Minecraft. It's the most popular and you're going to be seeing it a lot. But I don't know if I quite think that it looks good enough to be in that position. I don't think the color is very distinct. I know it's supposed to be like a basic rose type of flower, but I just don't think it does that much. So I'm going to be putting it in B tier. Next one is the Dandelion. Now, I really like the Dandelion, and it's obviously going to be in a lot of places in Minecraft because it's one of the most common flowers. And while I don't think its color is incredible or its design is groundbreaking, I think it does everything right. It has the right blend of flowers, it's the right size to be one of the most common flowers and not kind of make the terrain look weird. So I'm going to put it in A tier because I think it's a pretty good flower for what. The next one is the Blue Orchid. Now, it has one of the best colors and I just think it's so useful and it looks so good that it's useful basically in any build where you're putting flowers in, and it's gonna kind of make the flowers come alive because it's one of the only colors that I think is really distinctive and strong. A lot of the colors of the flowers are kind of weak and pale, but this one is bright and I think it's one of the best flowers because of that, so I'm gonna be putting it in S tier. The Allium, which is a weird name, is a pretty new flower, I believe. The color is pretty cool, but I just don't know. It's too basic for me, and I just think if they had went with a darker purple, it would have been like 10 times cooler. But with what it is currently, I don't know if I could put it any higher than B tier. I do like the color, but there's a lot of very light purple flowers that I just don't think it's unique enough or good enough to put it anywhere but B tier. The Azure Blue is a weird one because I don't think that its colors are good and I don't think it's that good looking, but I think it being kind of like a thick flower makes it look good in a lot of builds, so I think it works well with a ton of blocks, and I think its color being kind of pale and dull and toned down works with it in certain builds. Like if you're building a house, this is kind of the flower that you would see in a real house, so I think it works, especially with the shape being a little bit wider. I'm gonna put it in probably A tier for that, which is weird. I don't think a lot of people are big fans of it, but I think it does exactly what it needed to do. The orange tulip is a weird one because I think the tulips in general could have been a lot cooler if they had chosen different colors, and I think the orange tulip is kind of an exception to that. I think the orange works really well for this, and I just think that the orange is the perfect type of orange. Like if they went any different with it, it wouldn't have worked, but I think it works really well with this color orange. I think you can use it in a lot of places, and I think it's probably the best and most distinctive tulip, so I'm going to be putting it in A tier. The Oxeye Daisy is, in my opinion, the worst flower. It looks like an egg made into a flower, and it doesn't even look almost like that. It just looks like an egg, and it doesn't look good. Like the colors don't work, and as a flower, I don't know, it's just ugly. Its color is like the most common color of any flower, and its competition is strong. I mean, it's just the worst. And I like that they add two tones to it, but it just doesn't work at all. And they made it look like an egg. I mean, that's just exactly what it looks like. The cornflower is honestly one of the better flowers in my opinion. I think the color works really well. I like the dark blue, and I think it's just a solid flower. It looks good, but it's not like super distinctive. It's just a basic flower that's really good. This one's called the Lily of the Valley, which is a cool name, but it's kind of accompanied by a kind of dull flower. I think it's whatever. I'm not going to be complaining, I guess, if I put it in my house, but I'm not going to be looking for it specifically, so that's kind of the mark of a B tier flower, and I think that's exactly what Lily of the Valley is, a B tier flower. Now the Wither Rose. The Wither Rose, I think, is inarguably one of the coolest flowers in all of Minecraft. I didn't even know about it until relatively recently, and I mean, it's the most useful flower in all of Minecraft by dealing damage to anybody who touches it, including mobs. And obviously the way that you get it is super cool. It looks amazing. So it's going to have to go in S tier. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. It is definitely one of the best and the coolest flowers in all of Minecraft. The sunflower is an interesting case. I think it could have been a lot better than it is, but right now it just kind of looks meh. I guess it looks like a sunflower, but I always kind of imagine sunflowers looking different than they do in real life, and if they're going to make them true to real life, I feel like they could have made the flowers bigger or something. I just think they could have done this differently to make it look better, but right now it doesn't look very good, and it's probably a C tier flower, and that's kind of being generous. I don't really like how the sunflower looks in this game. Sorry if you were a big fan of the sunflower. I know that might be getting on some people's nerves, but that's probably a C tier. So the lilac is kind of boring. It looks just like the allium with the colors, but I just don't like the long flowers that much unless like there's a reason that they're long. And I'm sure that their real life flowers are very long, just like the lilac in Minecraft, but I don't know. I just think that it doesn't look good, and you just can't put it in many places. Like in real Minecraft, you're not going to be putting this in your house because it just kind of looks worse than all the regular flowers that are a regular height, and it doesn't quite look as good as the other taller flowers. So I'm gonna have to put it in C tier just because it's kind of below average at best. So C tier for sure for that one. The rose bush, I feel like the rose bush is definitely a step up from the lilac just because the rose bush has a reason to exist. It looks like something that you would see in real life, and there's plenty of places that you could place it and it would look natural and it would add to the building. And in the wild it looks pretty cool. The colors are obviously a good strong red, and to have roses in some form in Minecraft is cool. And I just feel like it's a good fruit, overall, so I'm going to be putting it in A tier. It is a very solid fruit. So this is called a peony. I don't know how exactly to pronounce it, but it's probably one of the cooler tall flowers just because I like that it's not see-through, so it makes it look like thicker grass is growing, and I feel like that looks more realistic. So I'm probably gonna be putting it in A tier also. I just think that it looks really cool in the wild and in anything that you're building, and I've personally used it a lot, so definitely an A tier flower, super cool looking. And now we have the rest of the tulips. The pink tulip is kind of mid. It's way too light of a color that you can barely tell it's pink, so C tier for that one. The red tulip, there's already too many red flowers, and I just feel like it's I mean, maybe I'm colorblind and those are the same types of red, but I just feel like it's kind of a worse version of the poppy. The red is a little bit weirder. I feel like the deeper red looks better on the poppy, so I'm going to be putting it in low B tier. And then the white tulip, I don't know, I feel like this white looks a lot better. Again, it might be my color blindness, but I think it's a little bit bluer of a white than something like the lily of the valley, so I'm going to be putting it in low A tier probably for that one, because I think it's just a good versatile flower. So that is just about it for this list. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, and let me know what you thought down in the comments down below. Peace.